You want to know how to make someone obsessed with you? I will give you one rule if you follow that you'll be able to manipulate anyone and everyone to do your bidding. Now, this is not one of these videos where I tell you only use this for good. There's no disclaimer about this. You can use this whatever you want to use it and whenever you want to use it because it's been tested by yours truly. And I guarantee you, I can vouch for you, it works. Now, the reason I want to make this video, however, is to tell you this is what it looks like. So if someone tries to manipulate you, you can be like, but by all means, feel free to take this framework and adapt it to your sly, dark, twisted, weirdo minds in order to get what you want. But don't blame me when shit hits the fan. You ready, you Machiavellian Casanova wannabe? Expand your mind. Now, whenever you want to manipulate someone, you need to do it by targeting key emotions. I mean key emotions. These are very specific to each individual. There is no blanket technique. If you do want a blanket technique, however, and you're just lazy, stick around to the end of the video and I'll tell you exactly what this blanket technique looks like, which is considered more ethical to an extent, right? But you have to target these key emotions. And what are these key emotions? This can be love, this can be fear, this can be whatever. It can be the fear of not fitting in or whatever. But the thing is, you will never be able to manipulate somebody. You'll never be able to persuade or tell them what to do or anything if you target an emotion that they don't really have any historical weight with. This specific emotion has to have emotional weight, some sort of historical emotional weight. For example, if someone's been loved abundantly through their life by their family, their grandparents, etc., you can't use love as an emotion to manipulate them with because they're going to be like, or even another example, fear. If someone is fearful of something, but then they've like exposed themselves gradually and they've put in the work to get rid of that fear, that emotion is not going to work. The way you manipulate someone is to find a pain point, something with historical weight, something which bugs them, and that is where you twist the knife. And that is your selling point. So how do you find that? You don't need to know everything about everybody, right? You just need to spend enough time around someone to understand what kind of triggers them, what makes them feel unhappy, what changes their kind of facial expressions, what makes them happy, what makes them sad. If you know that, you kind of get a good gist on where their weaknesses are. And that is where the framework of classical manipulation comes in. What you do is that you use that pain point, you invent it, you create it, make that person feel bad. Once you've deduced whatever the emotion is, that is your pain point. That is your selling point. You gotta invoke that pain point. You gotta invoke that emotion within them. Make them feel bad about it. And then provide the solution. Covertly invoke the pain. Provide the cure. You are the problem and you are the solution. Now, if you're not dumb, you will catch on to it. You'll be like, okay, this person is problematic. But what good and seasoned manipulators do, that problem never originates from them. It always originates from the external circumstance. Obviously, there's problems all around us. There's always issues around us. They just bring it to the light, or they provide a situation for that problem to arise in the other person's life, in the person of interest's life. And then what do? You provide the cure. And this cure is so opioidic, or whatever the word is, right? It's like an opioid. It's like morphine. It makes you feel so good, right? It's that emotional roller coaster. You have that high, that critical moment where you need something to happen, need to be solved. And then you yourself provide the solution. And that solution feels so good. But here's the caveat. The cure to the pain is dependent upon them doing what you want them to do. You do that long enough to somebody, they will start getting addicted to the up and down, up and down, up and down. This, my friends, is evil. This, my friends, is what you're going to use if you're going to use it against my advice. If you're going to manipulate someone, this is what other people are going to use to manipulate you too. So keep your eyes out for that. And it all comes down to that same concept of pain point, solution, supply, demand. That's where it comes from. That's why all these salesmen use the same kind of manipulative behavior, simply because it works, right? You need a car. You're going into a car salesmanship. And if you show that you need a car, they will use that pain point against you in order to sell you the worst car there is at a high price, because they know that you need it. So now you know what that manipulation framework looks like. That is what other people are going to use against you. End of video. What are you waiting for, you absolutely megalomaniac individual? The blanket method, the method that's going to get everybody manipulated by you? Well, considering you clicked on this video for that method indeed, I shall give it to you. Now, remember I talked about emotions and I said emotions are your pain point? The best emotion to always twist is regret. And I think this is more ethical as well, right? You know when people say you can never miss something you never had? But think of it the other way. What if you had something really, really good and then you lost it because of your own actions. That, my friend, is regret. This is the only manipulation tactic you should actually be doing in your life because it's the only one that adds to your life, right? And I'll tell you how. But all these other dark, sly, twisted manipulation tactics that you use and you decided that you're going to do as soon as you heard my framework plan, those things will take away from your life, my friend. I am telling you again and again, if you've ever successfully manipulated someone, if you ever successfully tried to manipulate someone, you will see how energy draining it is, how stressful it is. The more you lean into the dark side, the more the dark side becomes in you. And I would say the best way to get someone obsessed with you with this tactic is to make sure that you give them the utmost love, the utmost respect, the utmost loyalty. Obviously, you do it in a selfless way, right? You don't expect anything in return. You want to be a genuinely good person to be around. You want to be someone who is missed, right? You just give it freely. Aim to be that individual that you meet once in a lifetime. And when they take you for granted, which they will, you cut it off. And when they disrespect you, which they will, you cut it off. You take a distance and you go blank. You go silent. Silencio incantatem. And what happens is that because you've made yourself the solution to all of their problems, because you've made yourself the opioid, that effect, that drug, that individual that radiates life into their life, makes their life better, don't you think that they're going to miss you? All that good energy, all that goodwill, all that happiness that you put into their life, you deprive them of that straight away. Absence becomes a little bit like a shadow, right? This is always following them around. And they'll always constantly replay those times in their head. How amazing was this time? How kind was this person? How much they gave me? And that, my friend, is manipulation through devotion. And you do that through depriving your attention, depriving your goodwill, depriving your good energy. And I promise you, when they start missing it, they will start to regret it. And when they start to regret it, they will do anything and everything to get it back. The only good manipulation tactic I've just taught you. Hit that subscribe button.